Blog Talk Radio.
You are now listening to the sound of the shofar blowing. The shofar is a ram's horn that's blown to inspire the people to do their thing. The shofar is being blown to coronate a queen or a king. And today we're blowing the shofar to call us to have awareness and bring our awareness to our breath. This is Faux Show Holistic Health, and on Blog Talk Radio, I'm your host, Shophar, from Faux Show Energy Work. And today, family, I have a really great show for you. It's a very empowering show, and I mean, it doesn't get much more empowering than empowering kids, and because empowering the future with all that we have going on out here right now, it's very good to just be able to talk to people who are out here doing some things that are going to be changing the future because they're changing the kids. So my guest today, family, is one of three founders of Holistic Life Foundation, along with Ali Smith and Atman Smith. He's also the marketing director of Holistic Life Foundation. And they recently did a TED Talk. They have a program teaching yoga and meditation to kids at Robert W. Coleman Elementary and Patterson High School in Baltimore. So when I first saw this TED Talk with these three gentlemen talking and what they were doing and how they were impacting kids, I had to reach out to them. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and bring on my guest for today, Andres Gonzalez. Are you out there?
Yeah, hey, thank you so much for having me. It's a blessing to be on.
Oh, cool, man. Peace. Thank you for being on. Like I said, I had to just reach out to you, and I appreciate you being on the show. But anything I can do to spotlight people like yourselves, definitely got to do it. So thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Cool, bro. Well, definitely, as y'all know, I like to just go ahead and jump in because the time is short. So first off, what y'all are doing, you're helping kids feel empowered. So I just want you to talk first on that, if we really think about what that means, is to empower kids. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's very important to what it is that we're trying to get across to the children when we are teaching them a lot of these techniques, whether it's breathing techniques or meditation techniques or the movement, and allowing a youth to be able to understand that they are in control of themselves, that they have that ability, and the breath is that main tool that we like to use to really kind of hammer that point through. And we show them how when you are able to control your breath and you're aware of your breath, that in turn you're able to control your mind, your body, your emotions, everything within you holistically. And I think that I can't count how many times that I've seen it happen right in front of my eyes, where I'll break two young gentlemen apart from having an argument or a confrontation, a physical altercation, and the one young gentleman that I'll walk away with, I'll tell him to put his hand on his heart, and he can feel his heart beating out of his chest. And I say, do the breath. And, initially they'll start just panting kind of in and out their mouths because they're so angry, but no, do it the right way, the way we showed you, through the nose. And you see them calm themselves down. You see their eyes open up and kind of feel how their heart rate slows down. And I get the same response every time. It's always, thank you, Mr. Andy. And I always say, hey, don't thank me. I ain't do nothing. You did it. And when they see and feel that they are now in control, because so often I feel like with all the stuff going on, in the external world, that bombardment of stimuli can be overwhelming and make people often feel like they're not in control. And I feel like that hint of it is so powerful, and that empowerment, just that alone, I think, is one of the main things we really like to get across when we're teaching our techniques.
No question. Like you said on the TED Talk, you broke it down. It was we take about 20,000 breaths a day, and how we might not bring awareness to 10 of them or even 5 of them. And so when you're getting kids at that young of an age to realize that all they got to do is take a moment to just connect with that, and then they can change from that anxiety or that fear or that anger. That's powerful stuff.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful to witness it, because then you see, days later, them take it into their lives and start incorporating, where someone will call them out their name, and usually their first response would be this impulsive reactionary response. But then now they assess the scenario, they take their breath, they get themselves right, they're in the moment, and they respond to scenarios. And it's amazing to see the transformation that occurs from that empowerment.
Wow. Another thing, Andres, that occurred to me, because, there's been a study about this thing called epigenetics, and how, like, our emotions can even affect our DNA, or how it changes who we are, literally. So what you're doing, what you all are doing with the movement that you're doing, is that you're changing. This is a ripple effect through time and space. These kids will then interact with each other, and then their kids, and I mean, this is through time and space. This is some deep stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I think, the transformation that occurred within myself and the other two founders, I think, is what really made us want to push forward and hope that others would find the same transformation. And I think it goes, like you're saying, it goes even further to where, beyond them now knowing they're in control, as they continue to use these techniques where they're going inward and they're getting a realization, a true realization of self, and with that comes a form of self-love, that as they understand and recognize how to love themselves, then they become more compassionate individuals to others. So it becomes where we're taking these neighborhoods that used to be neighborhoods that we now call hoods, because the neighbors all moved out. It's creating that sense of community again, So we're really creating this wave, almost a tsunami of love, of, like, we like to call them, like, love zombies, where people are starting to just infect each other with love, and man, it's powerful. It's beautiful, really. It really is.
I love what you said there. Several really good points in there, Andres. But one of the things you said about the neighborhoods and how the neighbors have gone, and so it's just hoods and everything. And you're teaching kids how to really be neighborly. I know that's said in different religions and everything, but just in practical breath and meditation, and then the yoga and everything, you all are really teaching people how to be good neighbors. Like the Allstate joint or whatever.
Yeah, no,
it's all
true though.
State Farm is one of the mugs. You see it enough times. I should know what it is.
I got the reference. Yeah, no, but it's so true, man. So we're based, like, our the neighborhood that Ali and I were raised in is a neighborhood that we ended up moving back in after college, and we saw it being a shell of itself. Ali and I would tell me how when they were younger, they had those bigger brothers around the neighborhood that were like, they were like family. They weren't related to them. They may not have been doing the best things in the neighborhood, but they always looked out for the younger kids. And you could see that gone, that missing generation when we moved back in. And, when I would walk down in that street in Northwest Baltimore right in front of our house, I'm a Puerto Rican guy, but I'm light-skinned, so you can tell. And they would look at me and just either mug me up or ask me if I was an undercover police officer or if I was looking for drugs. And, like now, when I walk down the street, it's like people waving and like, hey, Mr. Yoga Man, will meditation get me to stop smoking cigarettes or this and that? Because they see the impact that it's made. Because what we do when we're doing the teaching, and this is something that we got from our teacher when we first started practicing, really getting into our practice again. I mean, Ali and Atma had a practice early on in life, but it was like 15 years ago, and he said, look, I'm down to, show y'all some stuff, but you need to make one promise. He's like, I'm not teaching students, I'm teaching teachers. So you have to promise that to me. And we've taken that with us as we do our kind of mission right now, and we always do a reciprocal teaching model where the kids are always coming up and leading their peers through the exercises. And what we found is that makes it so when they go home, the parents that we're not able to reach, they then reach. So mom comes home stressed out, frustrated, and little 6-year-old Johnny's like, Ma, you stressed. Come sit down. You need to do some breathing and meditate with me. And then the next day, mom comes to us like, hold on, I came home, and my son told me how to meditate. I thought y'all was doing yoga up in here. Because they don't know That's what it's all of that, and it's amazing that it changes the neighborhood to where we're back to it being a neighborhood again in the community, because it takes all of us to work together to raise all the children that we have. So it's just been a beautiful experience. It's a blessing, and I'm just humbled and happy to be a part of the movement that we're having right now.
It is a true movement too, and you're getting things moving and got the inertia and force moving forward. I feel like the universe at this moment is on your side anyway. Anything that aligns with these type of concepts and thoughts and these type of feelings and stuff is in alignment with what the modus operandi of the moment is anyway. So much power to you on that, man. You said something about no devotees, like how you teach the kids to be leaders and everything, and that the master is them, and I think that's a beautiful concept. I mean, that of itself goes beyond anything, because I remember it was Parma Yogananda, one of the founders who brought, yoga over from India, and I found out that I think it was in Chicago or some urban city or whatever, I guess he had someone in his group or whatever, and a black couple, and he approached him. He saw something in this one kid, and he told him, like, look, this little kid is he's gonna be a tantra master, and I want to teach him, what tantra means and what and they allowed it. And this guy ended up being Sunyata Saraswati, who ended up being this amazing tantric master and everything. So it's also opening up the doors for this cross-pollination of coaches and stuff, man. It's just amazing, all the great benefits that have come from the things that you all are doing.
Yeah, and it's crazy. That I love that story too, because it brings to mind, so often how we see that in the kids too, and how we look and you see these youth that if we went out there reaching out to them and just giving them the opportunity, or at least showing them that, hey, there's this other path. You can go this way if you want to, because you can see it in them. If they didn't have someone like that, then they may not have ever taken this journey. And we have gentlemen who've been with us since they were in the 5th grade, who are now 26 years old and are still with us. They're our instructors, and they themselves saw it. They went through the program, and some of them stayed with us the whole time. Some of them went to college, but no matter what, they came back. And the common factor, the thing that they all say is kind of like, hey, man, this changed my life, and I want to do what y'all did for me for others. The love just keeps coming, so it's amazing. Like, kids that we won't see 6-7 years, they come back, and we're like, hey, how you been? They're like, man, I want to get with y'all. I want to do what y'all doing. Y'all changed my life. So I can only imagine, 10 years from now, we started with 20 kids in the ad-school program, and now it's got 160 kids in it. 10 years from now, how many soldiers we're going to be able to have going out there and just, reminding everyone of their true infinite self and really what we're all really capable of.
You spark in so many minds the ripple effects through time and space, man. It'll reach to the point where it'll be so many that you won't even know. Like, just that little act of kindness, some kid that was in your thing or in your class or whatever, just some little random act of kindness or whatever, and that affects somebody else's life that you'll never even know about. I mean, already the lives that you've been touching and everything is it's beyond, anything that, we can really even quantify, man, which is beautiful. One of the things with that, too, like where you talked about being able to reach the parents, that struck me as deep, man, because I know that's one of the key problems. Like, of course, Baltimore is famous for The Wire, and, one of the key things in season 4, where, they kind of highlighted and focused more on the kids. And one of the things that they really shined the light on in those episodes in that season was that even if you reach out to the kids, a lot of the problem, man, is that you're not able to reach the parents. So that was a deep point that you touched on.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing to see, because it got to a point where people, the kids would just tell their parents, I want to be in the holistic program. I want to be in holistic, because we have fun. That's a big part of when we're teaching, too, to make sure that not only is it practical and we're teaching them survival skills, but we're making it fun. So they keep coming back. They want more. And I think their parents just thought it was an after-school program. They didn't really know that our main focus was the yoga. part is this discipline to teach them this, and so when they would come back days, and it happened numerous times where a parent would come to me and be like, well, y'all doing yoga up in here? And I'm like, yeah. And then they'd be like, no way. I'm like, look in the gym right now. And they couldn't believe seeing their child sitting there still on the mat meditating. It would, along with sometimes 70 other kids all on and they know how crazy and off the hook these kids are all the time. And to see that they all had that in them, I think it was so mind-blowing to them. And then they, in turn, wanted to learn more. So they'd be like, well, can I come? Well, like, of course, anytime, And that's the goal, is just to get it out to any and everyone. We get highlighted a lot for that youth work that we do, but we do all ages. I mean, we do drug rehab centers, mental health facilities, homeless shelters, elderly homes. We do corporate classes to get us into the jails and the juvenile justice system. I mean, basically anywhere where they allow us to get in, we'll come in, because everyone in some way, shape, or form is feeling some type of stress, in some manner, or being overwhelmed, or feel lost or out of control at some time. And I think we have, these skills that we ain't make them up. These are ancient techniques that we just want to remind people about. Like, use your breath, go inward and stop being so overwhelmed. We are all in control. And I think that's the main goal, is just to get it out there. And it's like you said, even if it's just a smidgen of something, opening a door, picking up someone's pencil, smiling at them when they walk by, the effect, the domino effect that can make, it's unbelievable. Right. It's unbelievable.
I say, all of that to that, because, I mean, it's like just loving themselves, like with all the bombardment of drugs and gangs and police violence and porn, TV, songs, video games, all of which, a lot of it, man, is a lot of negative messages out there right now. Without focusing too much on that or whatever, but to build a child up from the inside out, like the true meaning of where the word education comes from anyway is udukare, which means to pull from within. And that's what y'all are doing, like helping the kids to pull from within what's already in there, instead of always trying to put information in, like what the emphasis is on our education system, is to put information in, but they have so much, they come to the planet already knowing it maybe sometimes deeply in them, and we have to help them bring it out, but they already know what they want to do,
Heck yeah.
And being able to quiet that mind, man, so it's powerful, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's innate. I think it's innate to everyone. Everyone, as they start experiencing it and feeling that sense of inner peace and that connection, the interconnectedness to all and to everyone, I mean, I think that it's only natural for them to be magnetized towards it and to move toward it, that sense of community and oneness and the team. I mean, I love that you mentioned Yogananda earlier. One of my favorite quotes is from him, something along the lines of, divisions are imaginary lines drawn by small minds. And I say that to people all the time, that, a society in general, I think a lot of what we've been taught is to constantly divide and to create a separation from each other, from other things, from objects, from animals, from plants, from whatever it is. And I think as we as humans continue to learn that we are all interconnected with all things, on the atomic level and everything, that is when we really gonna start, spiraling like slight seaways back towards the source and towards the oneness. And I think we're getting there. It takes baby steps, slowly but surely. But I think everyone innately has that within them. That is what they all want, and to achieve and to be is one once again.
Shay, I agree with you on that, man, because what we see him is like, both the quote-unquote center and the quote-unquote saved, the Democrat and the Republican, whoever, all of you breathe. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just bring it back to the simple stuff. You all breathe. You know what I'm saying? And we go off into all these other things that, like you say, draws imaginary lines. The bigger our mind gets, the littler it gets, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so true, and I love how you said it too, because I say it to people all the time when, I come and say it's like an introductory class or a session, or people just want to learn some stuff, and I'm like, all right, so we're gonna go with some like yoga, some mindfulness today, and people will be like, oh, yoga, I don't do yoga, and I'm like, well, you breathe, right? You breathing, right? And they look at me all crazy, kind of like, yeah, I'm alive. And I'm like, well, you doing yoga, man? Like, that's your life starts with your first breath and ends with your last breath. You know, in this physical plane, it's got to be pretty powerful. And that's one thing that I think that we don't really look into enough. It's like I said on that talk, 21,600 breaths. There was a recent study done that said if you take 6 breaths a minute, so that's 5 on the inhale, 5 on the exhale. If you were able to slow your breathing rate to 6 breaths per minute, in this recent study, they said that it can increase your lifespan 10 to 15 years.
Wow.
Now, that's amazing. And this is what when I'm going out and speaking to people, it blows my mind that I went through high school, went through college, got my bachelor's, got my master's degree, and ain't learned nothing about that. You know, all this higher education, but they ain't telling me how to breathe the right way. So I think that when we were going through our journey, myself and the other founders, and that was one thing I think that was such a profound thing, and it just hit us like, how they ain't teach us this, and why ain't no one teach us? And that's why we're so adamant. Every class we start with, the first thing we teach is the breath, no matter what. Any of my instructors, first thing we teach is the breath. You carry it with you all the time. You ain't got to look for it or reach for it. It's with you all the time. And it used to be so mind-boggling to me afterwards when I graduated. Like, I can't, and I was going through the process. Almost like, what, are they hiding this from me? It ain't that hard. We're all doing it. You know what I mean? It's powerful. And I think that I think just having that small conversation and then instructing an individual through it, I think it starts getting their wheels going in their head, and they start thinking about it more. And then now it's about awareness. They start paying attention to their breath. They start looking at other people and seeing how other people are breathing. You know, as their respiratory system and their heart rate increases, they start recognizing it quicker, and it allows them to know what's going on. So it's not so automatic, because no matter what, your nervous system and everything is going to react to certain things. It's natural for survival, but being able to be in control and aware of when those things are happening, you can then adjust accordingly, so that you're not, we like to say, bringing the tiger into the house with us. You know, back in the day when you saw a tiger or a bear, you immediately, your brain made everything stress mode, fight or flight, do something. But nowadays, people are bringing their tigers and bears home with them. They always in this stressed out, tight, intense moment where their sympathetic nervous system is firing off and they can't get back to that resting state. And the easiest tools to access to get there is your breath.
Amen. Yeah, it's true. I like how you said bringing the tiger and the bear back home with us, man, because staying in that stressed out with that norepinephrine, a.k.a. adrenaline, is always pumping and stuff, that ain't a good look. You know, that's going to lead to some health problems, you know what I mean? So yeah,
the cortisol levels increase, that's ulcers, all that stuff. You can't do that. And so many people are like that.
Oh, easily, man. You sit in, you know, I'm out here on the West Coast, man. You sit in some LA traffic long enough and see how that cortisol, start, and all that stuff start. You get it, you over there on the East Coast, man. So Baltimore and DC traffic, man. You know, but man, wow, that's deep stuff, man. That y'all are touching on, man. And it was another point on there that where you talked about that I wanted to touch on too, is that I feel like what y'all are doing, like when you get the kids to teach each other and to come up and stuff. You had a question on one of the TED Talks where you said, "What are we going to do about it?" And you're focused on each word about that phrase. And one of the words that stood out is "we." Getting kids, at a young age to understand, like, it's going to take a village to change some stuff. If you want to touch on that concept, man, because that's empowering.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really started kind of when me and the two Smith brothers got together. We really just seen the suffering in the world, and we don't know why we thought it was going to be us, but we had it in our minds, the three of us, we going to save the world, we got this, we going to fix everything. I don't know why we thought that, but that's what was in our minds. And I remember we started on our journey and on this mission, we started getting pretty overwhelmed. Like, dang, it's a lot to do. There's a lot of people out here, a whole lot of suffering. And how are we going to remind everyone? And people would be asking us, how can we clone y'all? How can we clone y'all? And I think that's when we saw the younger generation, these young guys and girls that we were working with. We seen ourselves in them, and we're like, well, we already got our clones. They already, we could see the transformation happening, kind of being like, oh, we got this, and then going, having the ability to meet more people and to go and travel around the nation, the world, and speaking to people and seeing how, it all resonates with everyone, no matter what culture or language or, any demographic, it just fit, and you could see that, man, it's so needed. And there's no way just we can do it. It has to be a team, and it would be inspiring because we go to these events and think that we were the only ones doing this, and meet other groups that were just like us in different parts of the world. That were, it might not be the same techniques and the same formula and the same way they did it, but it's the same message. You could see it, how there's this consciousness that was growing, and we knew, and today we adamantly know that it can't be done by just a few people. It has to be us all, that together that we have to do this. That it's the only way it's going to be successful is for everyone to unite and do it. And I think that that's kind of how it grew. It's like that snowball effect where it was a little snowball rolling down the hill, and as we kept getting momentum, we kept picking up more snow. When they got to, it was a boulder and then an avalanche, and we're like, man, it's going to be all of we got this. It's going to do it. So I think that, I can't pinpoint exactly when it was like, this is when it happened. I think it just grew, and it still is, and we can just see that it takes all of us, that all of us have to unite and do it together.
Amen, man. We already 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, man. So, and if y'all, listeners, family out there, if you're taking what Andres is sharing with us, feeling inspired, it's affecting our nervous system, or as I like to call it from the work that I do, man, the awareness system, because it already we're programming ourselves subconsciously or superconsciously to be nervous, with the way that they program us. So the awareness system, but what he's saying is affecting the awareness system right now. And what you're saying too, man, is it's giving people that degree of knowledge that we won't get in the school systems, and I think sometimes that's on purpose. Real quick, as we're under 2 minutes, how can, if people want to get involved, or if they want to just learn more or send their kids to get, how can they get more information?
Yeah, sure. So, and I appreciate that, too. You can go on our website. That's hlfinc.org. You can follow us on Twitter at hlfinc. Like us on Facebook. We on Instagram, Holistic Life Foundation, or just give us a call for real at our office. It's 410-235-4300. Please reach out. We always need help. We'd always like to find other people interested in doing this work and teaming up with us to collaborate. And like we were saying in the conversation, make it we and all of us together work together. And in closing, one last thing I like to say, I like to always kind of do our endings like this, just to remind all our listeners, that love is the most powerful force in the universe. It really is, and from the Holistic Life Foundation, we love all y'all that are listening, and thank you so much for your time, for real.
Thank you, Andres. Yeah, same here. Much love to you and to the Smith brothers and to all of the people, man, that you're working with. Definitely appreciate what you're doing, man. Look forward to meeting y'all at some point. Again, y'all are listening to Faux Show Holistic Health on Blog Talk Radio. I'm your guest, Shophar from Faux Show Energy Work. And thank you all for tuning in. We love you, all of y'all, and stay up. Keep shining. Peace.